1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I was able to hear that.
One, two, three, four, 5. One, two, three, 4.
Hello, everybody at home. We will go ahead and get started. If I can get the room. So, welcome. This is going to be a very interesting meeting. I was asked earlier if we have an agenda. I do have some announcements, but we don't really have a formal agenda because Richland County is also having a meeting right now. So many of our candidates, our finishing up in Richland County and heading this way. But I'm hearing myself echo. Hold on just a second. Okay. So we're going to play this by ear. I did notice we do have a candidate for second vice chair that has joined us already online. We will give, obviously, whatever I did not stop the echo in this room. Does it bother you all? Okay. I'm always talking to myself in my head, so I mean, it's normal for me. But anyway, I'll go ahead and get our announcements out of the way, and let me see. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure there was nobody else. So, Pledge of Allegiance. Normally I have the slide up, but I didn't share the slide. So if everybody in the room, everybody at home, if you want to join with us, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so just quickly through our announcements. The South Carolina Convention is April 29th at the State Fairgrounds. If you haven't, if you're a delegate or an alternate, you should have already received an email. I see your head shaking back there. I added you. Did you not? I'll check on that.
Okay.
I just sent out basically the information I'm gonna go over the other night. If you're interested in the Blue Palmetto, we have sold 9 seats at our table, plus I think an additional 7 that Abby Cook has coordinated. So we've almost got 2 full tables. Lexington usually has between 2 to 3 tables at the Blue Palmetto. So if you're interested in that, let me know as soon as possible. I can get you the link and you can purchase your tickets. The Blue Palmetto this year, they just announced it right before I walked in the door here at the library. Former Governor of Michigan, Jennifer Granholm, is going to be our speaker. I'm really excited. As a political nerd, she is one of the politicos that I have not met yet, and I've been wanting to meet. So I'm really excited about this one. Wouldn't say as much as the vice president last year, but it's getting pretty doggone close. So that's a pretty big name to come to South Carolina. And I know everyone that wants to go to the Blue Palmetto will enjoy hearing her speak. I mentioned the Blue Palmetto. If you want a ticket, I have to turn in names by Wednesday, April 25th. So that is my deadline to get the information. If you purchase it through the state party, you might have one more day, but that's really cutting it close. That Friday night as well is the Clyburn Fish Fry. That's always a fun event as well. It's going to be held at Adventure in downtown Columbia, as it's been the last 2 or 3 fish fries, and that's a really good venue. Saturday morning before the convention is the Democratic Women's Council breakfast. If you're interested in that, it starts at 7:30 in the Canty Building, of the State Fairgrounds. You do need a ticket for that. If you're interested, contact me and I can get you the link for that as well. And then the convention registration opens at 8 o'clock. David and Abby Cook, along with our new treasurer, Kyle, will be at the check-in table along with myself. And the gavel goes down somewhere around 9:30. They say 9:30, usually it's about 9:45 because you know we Democrats are never on time. But there have been questions. Today is my deadline for you guys to let me know. I've gone over our delegate and alternate list through a couple of meetings. Again, I sent out emails to the delegates and alternates a day or two ago. If you think you should be a delegate or an alternate and you don't know yet, please get in touch with me either tonight or first thing in the morning, because my deadline is 5 o'clock tomorrow to give it to the state party. Lexington generally never has a full delegation, so just because you're an alternate doesn't mean that you're probably not going to be promoted to full delegate and get voting rights just like a delegate would. I ran our numbers the other day and we're getting right close to the 80-90 mark, and we have 96 delegates. So everyone that shows up for our delegation on that Saturday by gavel in should be promoted to delegate. Now that it's going to be at the state fairgrounds, it's a little more flexible. In years past, the convention food, the lunch situation, it's never been good. The convention center doesn't let you bring snacks or your own drinks in and stuff like that. At the state fairgrounds, they are going to allow that. So South Carolina Emerge is hosting a food truck rodeo on that day. So there will be tons of food trucks there, starting at 10 o'clock, and they'll be there throughout the duration of the convention. So there should be plenty of food. All of the proceeds over and above expenses goes to SC Emerge, which is a good cause. I mentioned snacks and drinks. If you want to pack don't pack like a 5-course meal, but if you want to bring a lunch box with a few drinks and stuff like that, you're able to do that this year since we're at the state fairgrounds. And I am asking our Lexington delegation, if you will, most of you are pretty good at the convention. You get there fairly early, but if you can, just because we are going to be promoting to delegate, and a lot of people are interested in voting on these chair races, if you can be there by 9:15 so that we make sure that we get you situated and that if you want to cast a vote, you'll be able to. That's that. The next announcement is our chili cook-off. Our chili cook-off is going to be October 7th. David Stewart has been gracious enough to do a ton of research on this. And he has put together in this room, he's passing out copies of some teams. If you were not able to attend our meeting last week, we've got a meeting coming up on Thursday night at It's Thursday, the 20th at 7 o'clock. We're gonna be hybrid at the office and Zoom. I think I put it out on Mobilize if you want to get that information. But we're looking forward to a lot of participation, and these teams that David has organized, I think are good, concise teams to help us get this out and do hopefully very successful event that then turns into something larger every year, and that's been my goal. David, you want to take 2 or 3 minutes?
Thanks, Chris, for letting me speak about this. Keep October 7th on your calendar. If you haven't written it down, do that. We are working on trying to get a location. I don't think that what we used for our rally last October would be appropriate because we need to have enough space for the cooking teams. I hope there will be at least a dozen. And then we're going to be having to reach out to vendors and other entities that may want to come and set up a tent to become part of this. All those details need to be worked out. What I have done is on this sheet, and I think the press has sent out a copy of this, and I'll have him resend it. I've taken the duties and the responsibilities that we're going to have to do to see this done. And I've divided them up into 6 teams. It's better if we have at least 2 people on a team. And once you're able to accomplish, if you're going to volunteer to be on a team, once you're able to accomplish a task for that team, you can jump over and work on another team. Like team number 3 on my list. We need to contact vendors. We need to contact the cook groups, and I have a list of almost a dozen. And we'll contact the vendors who want to participate. That may be a particular team that might take a while. Use your contacts as volunteers to reach out to some of the vendors, see if they want to participate. And once we get to the point where I think around the 1st of August, once we've accomplished all these responsibilities and tasks, we can launch the program the 1st of August and have 2 full months to advertise, to reach out to the community, and to see what kind of response we get. That gives us a month to monitor what kind of response. If we feel like that at the end of the month, it might be iffy, we have to decide whether we want to go forward. That's where it's critical that we get volunteers to do this. Now, if you'll see on the agenda, Chris has talked about having the roast available for around the first week, the last week before Memorial Day. That's a 1-person operation, at most 2 people. Somebody to help supervise giving out what you buy. This particular fundraiser takes more than 2 people. I can tell you that right now. And I have to tell you candidly, I will not do this by myself. Okay? I can tell you right now, this is too much for 1 person. It's too much for 5 people. It's going to take people who want to exercise some volunteer spirit with some abilities and the skills that they have to reach out to the community and see what kind of response we get. If anybody has any questions, my phone number and email is at the bottom of this sheet. And those of you who are joining us remotely, I think Chris is going to send you some information, which is going to be the exact same copy of what I have here. And you can respond to any questions. You want to volunteer, now is the time to get started. Okay, thanks.
And now we are starting to get candidates in the room, so I'm gonna really quick, David mentioned the Boston Butts. I'm gonna keep sending out reminders. So far, we have sold 4 and we have raised $170 because there was a donation that didn't tie itself to a roast. So, that's going well. Let's keep that up. At the executive committee meeting of the state on Saturday, they announced that, along with party reorganization, as we're doing at the convention, there's going to be caucus reorganization. That starts on May 8th and it goes through May 26th because we have 15 caucuses. And at the end of April, they're going to have that, those dates available to us. So, in the room at home, I have sent out the notification, the Lower Richland Chairs Forum is going to be Sunday, April 23rd. I will continue to post this on social media so that anybody that's interested can see that. I was given the link to mobilize for the environmental candidates forum that's going to be Zoom. It's tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night. When I get home tonight, that's going to go out to all of you because I know we all want to hear from as many candidates as possible. And with that, I am going to shut up. First in the room, I would give, do you say your name, Melina?
It's Melina.
Melina, I'm
Yes, sir.
gonna let you go second only because Catherine Fleming Bruce walked into the room. And since she's running for chair, I'm gonna let her go first, then you
Okay.
second. And then Jalen, I'll let you go third. So,
Thank you, sir.
She's running for first vice chair. So. and
Well,
she-
we-
what she do?
she's running for second.
Is that fixed for the law?
Yeah,
I'm happy.
anyway, so Catherine, if you want, a few minutes to introduce yourself, and one thing about the candidates in the room, Jalen knows this already, but Catherine, they have a hard close at 8 o'clock, but usually we congregate in the, parking lot. So if you're still here, don't worry. If you only get a few minutes here, you can still congregate outside with us afterwards.
Oh, man, okay, thank you. Okay. Well, hello, everybody. All right, hello, everybody at home. At home with your bedroom shoes and house coats and relaxing the way we can. So thanks, everybody, for being here. I'm Catherine Fleming Bruce. I'm a Richland County resident, and I'm one of your candidates for chair. So I want to talk a little bit about the chair race, but I want to start by asking you all a question. And the answer is delegate, so it's an easy question. Okay. Who makes the choice for chair? Okay, I want to hear you say that nice and loud. Okay, who's making the choice for delegate? I'm sorry, who's making the choice? Who's making the choice for chair? Who's making the choice for first, second, and third vice chair? And who is deciding the future of the South Carolina Democratic Party? That's right, that's right. I really want y'all to just sit in that for a minute, you know, because we're hearing a lot of people saying what they think should happen, and we have a lot of heavy voices being put on the table. But guess what? You all are the decision makers. So I want you to remember that and continue to come out and learn as much as you can about us. So a little bit about me and why I think I would be a chair that would serve you well. First, I am an advocate, an ally,
1, 2, 3.
an activist, and a preservationist. So I have spent a lot of my work here with the party, like all of you, as a volunteer, working in different positions, being a poll worker, being a alternate executive committee person, going to the national convention. And most recently, I served as director of operations for Richland County. But I also spent many years as an advocate and still do that. So for instance, last year, I spent a good bit of the year working on voting rights advocacy and redistricting, in which we went around the state with a number of statewide organizations supported by national organizations to educate people about the importance of redistricting, to encourage them to participate in public hearings, and to try to make sure, or at least to advocate for, fair maps, and to make sure that we, as much as possible, had maps that were drawn based on the needs of the community instead of the needs of the legislators. So we did that kind of work back when we were working on the Hillary and Bernie race, and the divisions that exposed in our tent. We formed something called Just Democrats, which was an opportunity for people to continue to focus on working together, you know, outside of those boundaries. So that was something that we came up with, that I came up with, and other folks on our own. So not something that somebody told us to do, that we carried out. So we did that work. Also, when I was a delegate, chosen to be a 6th congressional district delegate in 2020 to the convention that we didn't go to because of COVID. So we went virtually to that, but I really wanted it to be an opportunity for us to engage with the public, as opposed to, you know, just engaging internally. So I formed a group called the National Coalition Delegation, and that was a group of certified delegates to the convention from all over the country and representing different candidates. Because often what happens is, if you're a Bernie person, you and the Bernie people meet, and you know, you don't really meet with the other folks. Same with all the others. But we had all of those candidates represented in our group. Bernie delegates, Biden delegates, Buttigieg delegates, all of us were in this one group, you know. So we worked to try to encourage the public to participate in the planning of the convention and in building the platform, because most folks outside don't know what's going on. So we tried to break through that wall. And we also, in January, before the inauguration, did a special Zoom with folks from around the country to talk about the upcoming agenda, to talk about the Biden administration agenda. So I've been working in a couple of arenas in advocacy, in bringing people together across these divides that we have, and also about trying to make sure that the party is doing everything it can to welcome and support candidates. So last year, I was a candidate as U.S. Senate, and this invite here provides me with an opportunity to come back and say thank you to Lexington County, because you all are one of the counties that I did very well in. So I'm very, very happy, and I want to thank you all for your support. Thank you all. So what is happening now? What do we need to think about now? After the disaster that was the general election for South Carolina, I was asked to come in and be one of the people to offer for chair. And I was very honored to get that request. So here I am doing that. And I think what I want to tell people is that I offer an inside and outside perspective. So inside the Beltway, if you want to call it, outside the Beltway, but we become very much an insulated group. And in 1944, there was a lawsuit to sue the Democratic Party because only whites were able to participate in the primary. Today, we still have a kind of insulated club. Now, there's more of us in it, there's more diverse, but there's still a wall around us and the rest of the community. So we need to break that wall down. What else do we need to do if we want people to vote? Because we have so many people who aren't voting, so many people who look at politics and say, they're not doing anything for our community. They're not doing anything for our people. They're just there and they're enjoying the perks and that's it. So I think our job as a chair of this party, as a leader and a spokesperson for this party is to say, you know what? We have to work in collaboration. The party, the elected leaders, the candidates, the advocacy groups. We need to work together to push some of the changes through that are necessary. Okay, because I've been to the State House so many times, I don't see us out there. You know, if it's an environmental issue, you see the Sierra Club out there. If it's a women's issue, you see REN and PP. If it's LGBTQ, you see the equality folks, but you don't see us out there in our numbers that we could bring. So when they see us there, they know we have their backs. And I think that's the missing key. I think that's what's missing. So even when you get more money as we're expected to do with the first in the nation, and you have more investment, and you have all this happening, that's going to get you a certain point. But I think we're still in the same mode of insularity, cliquishness, and divide. So we need a person at the top of the ticket who's going to break us out of that. You know, we can have people first, second, and third, but everybody knows the top of the ticket is where the inspiration and the priority is going to come from. What is a priority? So for me, I don't believe that we can get where we want to go in terms of bringing people back to the polls. I don't think we're going to get where we want to go with our elections if we don't collaborate and show people that voting for us is going to equal change policy. That has to be the priority. So that's how I approach that work. I think the first in the South, it's a little scary for some people because, we want to do a good job and we're going to be on the national stage. We have all this additional attention that will happen. But how many years have we been first in the South? Anybody got a guess? At least 10, because it started when Dick Harpootlian was in office. So that's how long we've been first in the South. So we're familiar with the process of the candidates coming through and all these things that we need to do for candidates, which we should have been doing last year. We didn't do, incidentally. But we know how to do first in the South, and we know how to do first in the nation. So I don't think there's a particular person that's going to be better at doing that than the rest of us. And I think that all of the leaders currently of our party are going to say, this is so important that we are going to work together. Whoever the chair is, whoever the first, second, and third vice chair people are that are elected by you, we're going to get behind those people and make sure that our first in the nation is a success. So that's what I look for from my leaders. That's what I'm going to bring to the table. People have been asking me, if you win, who do you want to be first vice chair? Who do you want to be second vice chair? You know, my answer is who you all pick. Okay, who you pick, that's going to be who I work with, and I'm happy to do so. So I'm not saying, oh, I don't want to work with this one, I don't want to work with that, this sort of thing. So I know we just have a few minutes, so I don't want to overstay my time, but I want to leave you with the idea that we must partner We must be allies. The community must see us as allies to the things that are important to them. And a good example is a number of years ago when I was watching the gubernatorial debate, the Democratic gubernatorial debate, Vincent Shaheen and whoever else was running at that time. We watched the whole debate, and I was watching with a group called Mahente, which is a group of Hispanic activists. So they had a little party we were watching. So we watched the debate, you know, everything. Oh, this is interesting. That came up, so forth. At the end of it, the person who was the chair of the group said, you know, nobody on that panel said the word Hispanic, not one time. And she also said, if we don't see you out there doing the work, you know, you don't need to come to us talking about voting for your candidate. So we want to be a party that has those issues at the top of mind. And we're doing the work to address those needs. And we will get the trust back if we're doing that. So I ask you for your vote. I ask you when you go there on April 29th to consider voting for me, Catherine Fleming Bruce. And, you know, I'm not the one with all the bankroll and all the noise, but I've been here a long time. And I believe that I could serve you well in going in a new direction for this party. So I thank you for everything that you are doing right now in Lexington County. And do I need to take questions? Is this good time for a question?
Just because we're gonna run a little close on time.
Okay.
Are you able to stay until after, or are you heading?
I'm gonna tip out and call
Okay.
call into my Zoom, and then I'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those in the room, if you got questions, save them. Let's entertain maybe 2 questions.
Sure.
From online.
Sure. And where do you look when the questions are coming from? Look at the camera.
Any questions online? They're quiet. Normally I do, so
Okay.
I'll open it up for a question in here.
Any question or thought at all, comment? Yes.
So I read in the, an Axios, I think, the news that close to 50%, this is nationally, I don't know how it translates to South Carolina, but 50% of, voters out there identify themselves as independent. So getting away from, you know, the two. So what was your strategy? And I like the collaboration piece you said, I said it on Zoom the other day too. I took notes.
Okay.
So what would your strategy be to get, I mean, I know we're trying to get people to, you know, to register for a Democrat, but it's a large group of people for parks. So what would your strategy be to engage those people?
Well, I think if you're in the process of engagement about issues as opposed to engagement to try to talk people into voting for your person or trying to talk them into the party, that's a different approach. Just like I said earlier, when the person was watching and nothing was said about the Hispanic community, that same thing. So we're in a conversation about what is going on in our state, what is happening in our county. You know, we can start because a lot of the conversation isn't about what's happening in your county. We talk about what the county party needs and what the precinct needs and so forth. But what is happening in your county? What's happening in Lexington County? You know, what are the health disparities? What is the income? What is the affordability of housing? Those are the kind of things that if we're talking about those things, there are a lot of people who are going to come to the table. So that's what we need to be doing. That's the kind of conversations that we have. And once we have those, because especially since we are not a state where people register by party, we can have all kinds of events and all kinds of people can show up. And we just say, hey, you're welcome to come. We want to hear what you have to say on this issue. And we also want to find out who's doing the work in our communities. What are they, that shows what people are concerned about, what they're working on. So if there's some people who are concerned about affordable housing and you see them galvanizing around that, or if you see there's a oil spill or some issue connected with Lake Murray, some issue connected with water, and you see people gathered around that, that's where we're gonna be. So if we're there, all kinds of people will be there because these issues affect everyone. You know, we go to the schools when there's a, issue and discussion about gun violence, which every day we're having those discussions. So if we're engaged in that, a variety of people will be there and they can see us in action. If that makes sense.
All right, I really do thank you. Again, go get on your Zoom and stick
Yes.
around because we do like to chat in the parking lot, and this won't be the last time Lexington asks you to come. Regardless, whoever wins, I like your advocacy and you got an open invitation.
Well, thank you so much. And again, thank you guys. Thank you Lexington, for all your support and for your good work here. And I'll be back after this call.
And I am going to make a little change, Melina. Hopefully the rest of your groups will join us so that y'all can all collaborate with each other as a slate, if you don't mind. And then
Not a problem.
Okay, and then give the floor to Jalen.
What's up, Lexington County? How y'all doing? I appreciate you having me. I'm really grateful to be here. Unlike a lot of other candidates running for my office, I can say that this isn't my first time with the Lexington County Democratic Party. And my first time talking to you all was not asking for your vote. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jalen Elrod. I'm the current third vice chair of the South Carolina Democratic Party, and I'm running for first vice chair of the SCDP at the convention on the 29th. Born and raised in Greenville. Proud Greenvillian, fifth generation Greenvillian, home of Dick Riley, home of Nick Theodore, home of Liz Patterson, and so many other great upstate Democrats. My journey started when I was a freshman in high school, knocking on doors, going to barbershops and beauty salons, registering voters for the Obama campaign when he ran in 2008. I didn't think that 15 years later, I'd be here asking for your vote to be first vice chair of the South Carolina Democratic Party, and here I am. I became president of the Young Democrats of Greenville County a day after Trump got elected. After that, was first vice chair of the Greenville County Democratic Party, and in 2021 became third vice chair. In between there, I've done over 40 campaigns at the local, congressional, state, gubernatorial, or presidential level. Last year, I spent time going across the nation: Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Iowa, Minnesota, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, working to elect Democrats, specifically to the U.S. Senate, but also to other offices. Learned a lot, saw a lot. I wanted to take that knowledge and invest it back in South Carolina. To be candid with you, Lexington, I'm not going to take too much of your time. The 2020s hasn't started off well for us. In 2020, we lost a U.S. Senate seat. We spent $130 million on a double-digit loss that facilitated massive losses in the state house and the state Senate down ballot. Last year, we saw a loss of 8 incumbents in the state house. We saw a record loss in our gubernatorial election and our U.S. Senate election. We need to rebrand and we need to revamp who we are as a party. I'm running because I think we need to start winning. There are some people who think I'm too candid about these things, but here in South Carolina, in our democracy, if you don't win, you don't set policy. When I look at the Republicans and what they are doing, the bigotry they're trying to codify in the law, going after our LGBT plus youth, going after women who want to exercise their God-given right to control their own bodies. When we see them trying to expand the death penalty to include a firing squad, we know that we need a change. But that change doesn't happen unless we get those Republicans out. We have an opportunity to elect 10 Democrats to the state house next year, taking back the losses we took in 2022 and even gaining some, going all the way down from Greenwood to the Low Country to my hometown of Greenville. We can pick up Bruce Bannister's. But to do that, we need to have a laser focus. We need to have hard conversations. I'm prepared to have those conversations. We need to implement my 3-point plan. County party officers training. I've been a county party officer. I know how hard it is, how thankless it is. I think that we need to get all of our county party officers in Columbia and institute a program similar to the Clyburn Fellowship. We keep them for a weekend, not to take up your weekends, but we train them in GOTV, in messaging, in fundraising, in data analysis, in candidate development. We make them political operatives in their own right, because we know in South Carolina, we build from the bottom up, not from the top down. Second part of my plan is candidate development. I believe that the SCDP next year should publicly prioritize those 10 state house races that I think we can flip on the state senate side. To be honest with you, we're probably going to be more on defense. Our top defensive priority being Mike Fanning's seat up there in York County. Don't have much opportunity to go on offense in 2024, but I believe we can take 10 state house seats back next year. We need to prioritize that, and we need to tell our donors, hey, this is where we need you to donate. This is where we need you to contribute, volunteer. This is where we need you to knock on doors and make phone calls and build precinct infrastructure. Last part of my plan is robust fundraising growth and transparency in that. It was bittersweet to see us raise $130 million in 2020, but to see us take the losses that we did. And I think a lot of people became disillusioned with us in 2022. And to be candid with you, we didn't have any money for a coordinated campaign. We had a lot of great candidates run, but we had a lot of candidates run in places they needed to raise $150,000, $200,000 where they were raising $10,000 or less. We need to come to our donors, both in-state and national, and say, this is our plan. These are the seats we can pick up. These are the candidates we want to develop for next year. And this is where you need to donate your money. We need about $5 million for a coordinated campaign next year, given the magnitude of what we face. But as first vice chair, I want to start working towards all of that, building with all of you, building with all 46 of our county party chairs, like I have been the past 2 years when I've been third vice chair. I'm the only candidate who has served as a party officer. I'm the only candidate for this position who has as many public endorsements from county party officers and from elected. I believe that's a testament to the work that I have done, the work that I can do. That's why I'm asking for all of your votes. So that is my campaign speech in a nutshell. I'm not going to take too much of your time. If there's any room for questions, if with Chris's permission, I'll ask, or I will stick around after the meeting is over, because I don't believe in coming to a meeting and just skedaddling on to the next.
All right, well, same for time's sake, since you're gonna stick around, we'll give, if anybody online has a question, we'll take a couple questions. I have never heard this county party not have questions, okay? And since there none there, any questions in the room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm David Stewart. Republicans raise issues about grievance and about cultural issues. Democrats raise issues about data and policy.
Right.
Apparently, we've got it wrong because we keep losing when we talk about data and policy. How do we reverse the trend? So how do we answer Republicans when they talk about grievance, they talk about freedom and liberty? That must mean something to people, but they keep winning.
We make sure that people in our party and our candidates running understand the difference between what the party needs to do towards about messaging and what a candidate needs to do. And that really comes down to what we didn't see in 2022, which is that there are people we need to target as a party. There are people that campaign as a party. Gerrymandering is a huge issue in South Carolina. I don't think I have to tell anybody that. The people who we need to get out the base as a party, as me as a party officer, are vastly different from the people you're going to need to target to start flipping some of these things around and stay out of the state. The message that we're going to have to party voters is not the same message we're going to have to campaign voters. We got to understand that difference. We have to tailor our messaging and what we need to do regarding the LTV to fit that area. One of the things that I want to do with our county party officers is to show them these are the demographics of people who you're going to essentially inundate with your LTV message. And we say in our candidate development program, this is the universe of people you need to. I think as a party, we can get out of the base, we can also target those infrequent voters who, if we know they vote, they're going to vote Democrat. If you, let's say that Jeremy is gonna run in a red district candidate, which God knows he does in a couple of years, we know that he's gonna have to be targeting those independent voters, like was mentioned earlier, and some of those weak Republicans. Those weak Republicans are probably not going to appeal or react to a Democratic message, but they'll react to a message about Jeremy and what he wants to do for the people in his district. I think that's how we go about that. That's how they did it in Nevada. That's how they did it in Georgia when they flipped it blue. That's how they did it in Arizona. And I think that's what we need.
Question. Any other question?
Question and observation, just try to be very transparent. One thing for you, if you go in the room, I think one thing I watched you when you came in, and you acknowledge Jeremy. I know y'all might be friends, but I would rather for you to fist bump or go down the table and say everything. Little things matter, you know, because it's big. Secondly, how would you go about holding up and down your peers on this leadership accountable? You know, because I know it's hard for one person to go ahead and make these changes, but how would you hold them accountable for everything you just shared with us? And if you are awarded this position, how would you hold them accountable holding that?
Right. First, let me apologize to everybody else for not dapping you up. Jeremy's my boy.
Yeah.
So let me apologize. No slight intended.
No, but it goes back to what Ms. Green was saying, you know, that whole thing of bringing everybody together. We just have to be conscientious about when we walk in the room, especially if we're up there saying, I want your vote. You know, I don't know. You know, but just make me feel like, hey, you are here for me as well. It's just that, you know, and that's just my little feedback on that.
No, I definitely understand. To answer your question, I think those of you who know me in the party know that I'm not known for holding my tongue on too many issues. We hold our peers accountable from chair going all the way down by saying, hey, can you justify your ideas with the numbers? I'm a big data guy. I'm a big numbers guy. If you can't justify why we should invest in your seat, I don't think we should invest in it. The top targets that I want to invest in first vice chair, I think the party should invest in, I can break down the numbers in those districts by precinct and tell you this is a applicable opportunity. We don't always have that. There are folks who ran in 2022 that, you know, lost by 20, 25, 30 votes, 30 points. And those are the people going to be part of. The margins that we see in any park race, Kimberly's race, Ardell's race, other races like that, those are the people we're going to be targeting. I'm going to push for that. And if anyone thinks we should be targeting other seats, I'm definitely going to want to see the numbers on that because I do numbers as an occupation. And I think each time we have hard conversations with our delegates, we need to start based on our resources, not on emotion, but by logic and data. But that's what the message we need to take to our delegates. That's the message we need to take to our donors.
All right, well.
Chris, there's a question in the chat. Miss Molina.
No,
Here.
Melina,
I addressed a question that was there.
weren't you answering a question?
I was, sir, yes.
Okay, yeah, so since Jalen's gonna stick around, if y'all have in the room, if you have any more questions, I'm sure he'll be glad to speak to you. We do have at least one other candidate that is supposed to be already on the way, other than the South Carolina Forward Together group, once they get finished with Richland County. So Melina, I'm gonna go ahead and toss it to you, and
Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
the mantle for your whole slate until they get here.
That's wonderful. I could definitely do that. I want to thank everybody, first of all, for giving me this opportunity to speak. And, you know, I find myself in a very, very unique and very special situation here. I am a mother. I am just a regular civilian. I am a first generation American. My parents are actually immigrants from Mexico. And, you know, I've actually had to develop myself, kind of play catch up, you know. But I've lived here in the upstate for over 23 years. This is, you know, the state that I chose to raise our children in. I am a military mom. As a matter of fact, I'm not there personally with you all right now because I just drove 12 hours to get back home. My daughter's actually currently deployed, and I had the opportunity to go see her. So I did that. But more about me is that I do have the qualifications to serve as second vice chair, period. My financial accounting is going to come in handy. And there are three big topics that I really want to work on. And the first one, as second vice chair, my job would be to just strengthen the party in general. And, the way we're going to do that is by using the most reliable and up to date resources available to us, right? And the other thing, of course, is going to be just working with Brandon Upson, making sure that our financials are continuing to stay transparent, that we avoid any kind of bad debt in the future, which I'm capable of doing that with my financial accounting experience. And then another thing, of course, is just making sure that we increase and grow the caucuses. The caucuses are really just the pipeline to growing the party. Without them, they're the ones out there recruiting people, bringing them over to the South Carolina Democratic side, I want to say, right? So if we are not giving them the support that they need, we're not going to actually see a huge increase in our voters. And that is pretty much the second vice chair's job. And when Brandon Upson and Mary Guerin started searching South Carolina, they really focused on bringing the people who had the professional experience and the passion that actually was going to meet and fit into the vice chair position. As a matter of fact, that's why Erica Sampson makes such a great third vice chair candidate. She's actually currently working on her PhD to become Dr. Sampson, and she specializes in human resources. So acquiring those people and connecting them and putting them where they best fit is what she has been doing all along. But with me working as a financial accountant and being a person of just giving back to my community and being a good Samaritan, I got involved because of Brandon Upson. I believe in Brandon Upson's vision. I know that he has a plan that we've already all worked and put in place together. We work well together. I've known Mary Guerin for over 10 years. I actually met her when I was a student at Tri-County Technical College in the upstate, and she was an English instructor there. So I've been involved with the Anderson County Democratic Party there in the Oconee for many, many years. And the bottom line is that we've made a slate because we work well together, because we are on the same page. We've developed, like I said, we've developed a plan where we all have our little to-do list. And it's just kind of like being in a college project. We all have to put into it. Now, a question that was asked earlier, and it does not take me by surprise, guys, is if you really think that you are so good at the second vice chair, right? Would you be willing to work with another chair? And that really puts me in a very, very difficult position because in my interior and in my heart, I know that I have the discipline, the desire, and the push and the drive to get things done. And I want to believe that I am what South Carolinians need right now. But I just don't know if any other chair is going to have the same commitment, the same passion, the same drive to get anything that I'm trying to bring to the table to get that done. It is very, very strange for me to even hear another chair not even bring up any of the subjects that we're looking to change. We have a lot of outdated information, bylaws that need to be moved around and just revisited, and we have to start looking to thinking outside the box if we're going to actually sustain the SEDP. And Brandon brings that vision. Mary has the drive and the experience for fundraising. So when now I'm asked if I will run as second vice chair with anybody else other than Brandon Upson, my heart is torn because I want to serve the people of South Carolina. But in good faith, the things that I'm striving for and pushing for, are they going to get blocked? Or is the chair and the first vice chair going to help me get those things done? Is it going to matter enough to them like it does to me? Or am I just going to be there as a pawn and, have someone say, hey, we have our first Latina and Hispanic woman, in the history of the SEDP. Good job for her, but she's not getting anything done because we don't care about her issues. And with my slate, I know that we all share the same values. And that's what makes it so difficult. But we are looking forward to just making sure that we're using new effective leadership roles, and we have to maximize everything we can to be more efficient. So when you think of me and the second vice chair, please know that I'm very passionate about helping my people of South Carolina, because all South Carolinians are my family. My children join the service, and they do that openly with their whole heart, because we believe in giving back to all of you guys. You know, with the National Guard, they're serving South Carolina. We've always been a family that gives back. And we are completely committed to making sure that our families, everyone's families, are in a good place, the best place we possibly can. And the change that we want to have and the change that we strive for is going to be a compilation of our life adventures and you know, our personal transferable skills that we can put to working together. So please consider joining, just at least joining our cause and voting for the whole slate. There's a purpose and there's a reason why we have bonded together and fit so well. Again, my name is Melina Rodello. I'm running for second vice chair, and I thank you for your time. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And
I have a,
as a point of privilege, the first question is gonna come from me, Melina. And it's, like you said in the back, more of an observation than a question. Lexington County has a tremendous Latinx community. I've talked about that before with this county party, and we really need to reach out to those underserved communities, because we know some of our Latinx friends are in those communities that are more along the poor line. They're, you know, the schools are not as good. And that has been a target, a focus of mine. And I want to say, it really warms my heart to know whether you, Melina, or Myra wins, our next second vice chair will be a Latina, not just Latinx, not a male, but a
Right.
female Latina, a woman. I really, the diversity that brings just warms my heart. And I thank you for running for many reasons, but especially because of that, because we do need Latinas elevated just like we need Black women elevated, just like we need white women elevated. So thank you for that.
Thank you, sir.
That's not really a question.
Thank you.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
Okay, Kat?
name is Melina. So
Hi.
I guess my question will be twofold. One, you mentioned that you would have a difficult time working with another chair if your slate did not get elected. So I guess that would lead me to ask you the question that your qualifications of having a finance and accounting background, the treasurer seat is an appointed position. So if your slate doesn't win and that seat became available, would that be something that you might consider doing, or is working with only your slate your option of choice?
A wonderful question, and I thank you, Ms. Kat Kennedy. Here is the bottom line when it comes to this. I am an outstanding person. I always tell people, you know, that I'm not the kind of bystander. I always want to do for people, and this is what I feel is being called of me, right? As a financial accountant, that's, to me, it's almost like it doesn't even matter. I'm just the kind of person that loves everyone. I will work with anyone. I am capable of working with everyone. My heart is always open. I always carry it there, you know, and sometimes they say, oh, that's not good in politics, watch out. But it's the warning signs come up, the red flags come up for me when I think of how important this role is, because I'm not just going to work with Hispanics. I'm not just going to work, you know, I want to do for everyone, for all minorities, but I am here as a representation, and it's a great honor for me. I do have other positions that I can actually possibly even look into, but right now my complete focus, Ms. Kat, has been on the second vice chair and what I can do to help our communities. I'm currently the treasurer for the Hispanic Caucus. And, you know, it's a new role to me. I have not really had much experience there. I've only been a part of it for the last couple of months. But I can tell you this, I have already right now single-handedly almost doubled our delegate list, Hispanics in the delegate list by myself. And I know that, you know, a lot of other people may have these positions of seniority within our, SCDP and our caucuses. But here's what I say to everyone. What good is having the
Hold on
position?
just a second, there's an announcement.
The work stage and jumping treated before the library closes.
Sorry about that, you'll
No
get
problem.
another one if, you're still on in about 15 minutes, so sorry, keep on.
I was going to say that, it's wonderful that people are representing and they're very driven to stand up for our community and be a part of something amazing, because our protection and our way of living is, it's so important. So it's great to see the passion behind everyone running for positions. But when you have a position, it is a platform and we have to use it responsibly. And those people that have already an extensive resume of qualifications, I just wonder why they haven't done more to help, right? So could I work for another chair? If they were to tell me that my issues are going to be just as important as everything else, absolutely yes. Could I find another way to join the SCDP or any other, organization to help out? Absolutely yes. But the bottom line is, I want to be able to see us all work collectively, because it's going to take a group effort. And I just don't want to be held down, because you see what happens even with Biden. He has a lot of promises and a lot of things he wants to do, but if he gets shut down, we're not going to get anywhere, right? But I will tell you guys this, especially right now, listening to the Hispanic population in Lexington. It is amazing, because up here in the Oconee area, we really don't have many Hispanics. It is my hope that I continue to represent the Hispanic women and continue to help them too. But also, more importantly, is appealing and letting the Hispanic people know and give them information in their own language. In case you haven't noticed, I actually am completely bilingual. I learned English when I was 6 years old. Entonces puedo hablar español e inglés like it's just nothing. I'm completely bilingual, so I'm just always speaking Spanglish. But it's important to get the message to them in their own language too. And regardless of their immigration status, I think that it's the parents' duty to know. If we only let them see that they're important enough to be educated and to give them the information, they can go back and relate that to their children that are currently in middle school and high school and have the privilege and, I would have to say, I don't want to call it a burden, but it is a huge responsibility to be the one to represent your whole household when you're the only one that's an American citizen, and your parents might have a green card, but not US citizens, so they don't have that voting right. I did it when I was in high school. My parents were legal here in the United States, but for a long time they couldn't vote. So I had to go out there and educate myself. So if I can appeal to the parents, if I can educate the parents and have that information trickle down, I think we can see a huge impact in the Hispanic community. And I really, truly believe that this should have been done a long time ago. But I'm here now, and I hope to make a change. Any other questions, guys? Thank you very much for the question, by the way. Appreciate it.
All right, if there's no other questions, I did just get a text from Bishop John Wright. He is on the way. He's probably 5 or 10 minutes out, so he will be able to at least get in here and meet you all before we have to get out of here. Jalen, do you want to field more questions? Because I don't see, is there any other candidate online? There was only one that I didn't one name that I didn't recognize, but I think I recognize everybody now.
Chris,
Hey,
while we're
May.
waiting, may I take up the opportunity to make an announcement? I know this may be out of order, and you can tell me if it is.
Oh, no, we basically got radio silence until these other candidates get from Richland County, so please do.
The NAACP will be hosting a blood drive this year at Pleasant Hill Baptist Church. And anyone who can and is available to come out next Wednesday, the 26th, between the hours of 3 and 7 p.m., please come out and help us in the community. We need 30 people to come out and give blood. I'm also going to put it in the chat. We have a post out on Eventbrite, as well as the NAACP Branch 5669 Facebook page and website. And I'll put it in the chat if you'd like to go out and actually register directly online. But anyone that can and will be willing to come out, we will be, those that do attend and able to give blood, Chick-fil-A will be provided for you guys, because I know that blood takes a lot out of you. So I'm gonna put it in the chat. So thank you.
And what is that date again, Kat? I know you sent me the flyer, but I haven't put it on my calendar.
April the 26th, that's next Wednesday, April the 26th at Pleasant Hill Baptist Church.
I've never given blood because one of the things that I do like about our slate of candidates is we're gonna have the most diverse leadership of SEDP that we've ever had. And one of Jalen's competition, you met last time, Colleen Condon. One of the issues in the gay community is we can't freely give blood like straight people because they're worried we're gonna infect somebody with HIV, when a straight person can pass HIV in blood just as well as a gay person. So having these community style problems being addressed now, because we've got leadership that will look more like our body, that's a real good thing. And I do plan, I've never given blood because of that reason, but I think the CDC has relaxed some of those guidelines recently, and I am eligible to give blood now. So I do plan on being one of Kat's donors. If anybody else on this call will please join the NAACP in giving blood next week.
Hey, Chris.
Will you announce if there's a meeting Thursday?
Oh, glad, since we're on, some people might have joined after, on this coming Thursday, April 20th, 7 o'clock, hybrid Zoom and at the office, we're having our second organizational meeting for our chili cook-off that will be October the 7th. So we need volunteers. We need help. Who was online?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah,
Are any of the candidates still there?
Jalen is still in the room.
I wanted to ask which state house seats are they going to be targeting, or that would he propose to target?
Okay, I'll give Jalen an opportunity, and then I see Melina is still online if she wants to come back and answer as well.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll let you.
Yeah, let me do a quick breakdown. Actually, got into a little bit of trouble about this too. Just to break down the numbers. Top 3 targets, guys, for us as a party should be State House 116, 64, and 22, and we have a chance to pick up State House District 12 and State House District 24.
What county seats are they?
24 is in my hometown of Greenville County. 12 is in McCormick and Greenwood. 116, 64, and 116, 64, excuse me, and 122 are all in the low country. I can do a breakdown if I have the time of the strategy we need for each seat. I don't want to bogart the meeting, but
Yeah, if you just
No,
give a
just
general idea, because yeah, those are very important seats that
right.
unfortunately we lost. I would tell you, add on your list House District 89, that's West Columbia, because we're going to be targeting that. In House District 85, I have a candidate that's willing to run for that, and that's in Chapin.
Yeah, awesome.
wait. Can I ask you about McCormick? Now, does that include Saluda?
I think it does. It's definitely on the border. That's the seat that Ann Parks had.
Yeah.
So, but we got this data, based on looking at the 2022, election results, matching those with how Joe Biden performed in, 2020,
ma'am.
isolated for the district, and, based on how Joe Cunningham performed in, the 2022 gubernatorial election. So when you look at the campaign expenditure reports, the candidates who ran in these seats, these are great people, but, there was a lot left, on the table. There wasn't a proper, spending on direct mail. There wasn't a proper spending on radio ads, not a proper spending on digital. Some of these folks did not even have campaign managers. And I think that some of that falls on us as a party, as a state party, for, not really preparing some of our incumbents. You know, typically we talk about candidate development is geared towards new candidates because we think the incumbents know how it is, but politics is changing in our state. So one of the things that I want to do for the aforementioned state house seats, we're going to develop those candidates, having conversations with the, incumbents who lost last year. Maybe they want to start their feedback, or even getting with some new folks, saying this is what you need to spend on direct mail. This is what you need to spend on texting, on phone banking. This is what you need to spend on yard sign. This is what you need to spend on radio ads. This is what you need to spend on TV for some folks who are probably gonna have to go on TV. I know anybody who runs against free Bannister up in my hometown, you probably have to spend a month on TV. There's enough time for it to permeate with the election. These are the, ideas that I think are gonna be necessary, for us to pick up these red seats. And it's ideas that I've seen work in Pennsylvania, in Nevada, in Arizona, and in Georgia, not just those seats U.S. Senate elections, but some of those, lower seats that they were able to flip in 2020 and 2022. So, really look forward to working with, our county party chair to do that. Definitely gonna be looking at 89, since, that's gonna be a priority for you. And, definitely gonna be coming back to Lexington County, showing this summer, this is how we're gonna start building. I think, Chris will tell you, I'm probably getting this guy nervous as much as I text him and call him, but I hope he can bear with me at least 2 more years until we flip.
Yeah,
Keep pushing.
absolutely. And if you know anybody
Mhm.
that happens to live in the West Columbia area that we can push to run for that seat, we really want to run for that seat. Melina, do you want to go next? I do know John Wright just texted me, he is here, so that gives you a few minutes if you want to talk about
Yeah.
that strategy for winning those seats.
Well, I'll tell you what I do know. And I think it's wonderful that you're looking for someone in West Columbia to put there as a candidate and run them. I do know that Brandon's plan, this is something he's been doing for years as a chair of the Black Caucus. Not only did he grow the Black Caucus with the members, but whatever money that they actually raise, some of that money goes back into the candidates to make sure that they have the support, the economical support to be able to run for these offices positions. So I don't know which seats they're looking for, what their strategy is exactly at this moment. I have been so focused on the second vice chair position, and I hear what they're doing, but I have not looked at the actual playbook directly myself to see what it is. All I can tell you is that for the past 2 years, he's actually put that money back into the community, helping these candidates, and he single-handedly also won back 5 seats already. But it's not, a House seat or anything like that. I think it's like helping councilwomen and stuff like that. He can probably tell you more about it. All I know is that he is working on that. He does have his connections in the state house. It's something that I hear him talk about. But like I said, I've been so focused on my stuff. I just hear it, acknowledge it, like, oh, great. I'm glad that we're going to be doing that. People need to know that they have a financial support, because one of the things that Brandon is going to do is make sure that we have money coming into the SCDP by other means than just whatever it's been happening now. We need to think outside the box, like I said earlier, and find that, that income in a different way and give back to those candidates. There was a question earlier by Mr. Smith about some of the things that Brandon Upson is being accused of. And I did tell him that he had already made pretty much a public statement about it, but I did drop that link on the comments if anybody wants to just look at it and see it. And the only thing I can say about that is that we understand that if someone tells us something once with an emotional attachment to it, we remember it. And even if it's a lie, all they have to do is tell us twice and we'll remember it. But I hope Brandon gets there so he can tell you guys more about his plan. Thank you very much, guys.
All right, and Bishop John Wright just walked into the room. He is running for third vice chair. He is from Lexington and has promised me that he's gonna make more of these meetings. So I want to give him plenty of time. We've got a hard stop at 8 o'clock, so you know how to.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. How y'all doing? Am I just stand right here?
Yes.
All right, thank y'all so much for having me. This is home. This is home, y'all. This is home. A little bit about myself. I started off in this organization with the Democratic Party. I started off at the age of 16. Now, I was born and raised in the Low Country. I'm a Gullah boy, Gullah kid. You get what I'm saying? When I came down here to the Midlands, it was to go to school. And my mother and father and them, they thought I was gonna come back home. But I told them it was so much more to learn up here so I can bring back home. So upon me graduating from Allen University, I'm so proud of my alma mater, in political science and social science and psychology. I became part of the first graduating class of the J.B. Clyburn Political Fellowship. And I remember when I first met Congressman Clyburn, I was very nervous. It felt like he was the Pope because you see him on TV all the time. But real short, because I know time is of the essence. I told Congressman that I wanted to run for office, and he asked me one question. He said, why? What is your pathway to victory? And I couldn't answer him. So he told me, he said, son, in order to run for office, you should want to jump on someone's campaign and help them win theirs so you can learn more. So then I went to DC. They sent me to DC so I could be part of the Congressional Black Caucus Institute boot camp. That boot camp taught me how to run office, how to run campaigns, how to fundraise for campaigns, how to motivate the base, how to come up with a strategic message for living in a red district. It taught me so much stuff. When I came back home, I became deputy campaign manager for Congressman Clyburn. And we won that election, y'all. Now, me running for third vice chair is simple. When I was 2020 election, living in Lexington County, right there near Lake Mary Boulevard, I traveled all 46 counties of the state. 2020 election. When I traveled those 46 counties, I wasn't asking you all to vote for me because I wasn't on the ballot. I was encouraging every last one of you that's on virtual and every last one of you in person. I was encouraging you all to vote for every Democrat up and down the ballot. So the reason why I'm running for third vice chair because I've been doing the work. I currently serve as the chief of staff for the Young Gibbs of South Carolina. And that is one of my most, Jeremy, they're my good friend. That's one of the most important jobs I had since coming to the Midlands because it allowed me to be with like-minded individuals like myself. When I am elected third vice chair, my goal is to take every young voter who are registered but have never cast their vote. Because let's be clear, we are out there. We got a lot of youth out here in our community that are registered but have never made it to the polls. Our goal is to grab them and to teach them and to educate them about the importance of why it is to vote. Then our goal is going to be to grab those young voters who are registered, voted, but never voted Democrat. So far, we have turned at least 15 young youth from voting Republican to voting Democrat. Y'all can give us a hand, y'all. That's what we did. And that is what we want to continue to do in this party. Lexington County, I need your support. I was campaign manager for our current second vice chair, Dr. Anthony Thomas. When he ran for the SCDP officer, he called me and he said, I want you to run my campaign. I was nervous, but I knew we couldn't get the job done. And I'm proud to say that he has done a tremendous job. Now, Lexington County, I'm asking you to keep Lexington County in the seat because we have a very unique area here in Lexington. A lot of folks don't understand our marker, but I truly believe, just as I told Judge Larkin when he was running, I believe if we continue to push and work, that we can flip our district, y'all. I know it may be far-fetched. I know y'all may be looking at me like, what this dude is talking about? But I know we can do it. And how I know we can do it, because I've seen it done. I've seen it done. Everybody is talking about this first in the nation. But let me tell you something real quick. I'm gonna pass it back to Mr. Chair. The First Nation didn't just fall on us yesterday. We've been working for this moment for a very, very long time. When it was time for young person to go up there and advocate for young Dems and advocate for the First Nation, I was one of the young folk that they pulled to go and advocate on behalf of us to make this thing happen. And I'm proud to say that we did it, which is why I know that we can show this nation that South Carolina can win a general election. I don't care what Trump said. I don't care what Tim Scott say, and I don't care what Nikki Haley say. I know if we have the passion and we have the morale and we build, we can make this thing happen. So on Saturday, April 29th, Lexington County, I want you to remember the name John Wright. And when you cast your ballot, don't cast it the wrong way, but cast it the right way. So we can continue to move this party forward. They talk about the negative stuff that happened in the election, Mr. Chair, but what they don't talk about when Jamie ran, we was all hurt. I worked with Jamie, we was hurt. But what we didn't celebrate was the 1.1 million new voters that we got on the ballot, that we got in our party. We have to learn how to celebrate our wins. Because when we celebrate our wins and spread our message, more people will get more involved and they will see that we are not a losing party, we are a progressive party. And I believe we can make things happen. That is why I'm asking for y'all vote on Saturday, April 15th.
And again, a point of privilege being chair, we only have 7 minutes before we have to be out of here. One of my focuses has definitely been on youth voters, because I tell people all the time, they don't listen to me, but if you're running a statewide race in South Carolina, you need to come to Lexington County. If you're not going to come to Lexington County, even though we're a ruby red county, guess what? We're in the top 10 in Democratic turnout. So you're right. If we focus on those young voters, those apathetic voters that are not getting out, then yes, we can start turning the tide. So quickly, what is your vision for turning out those young voters who probably would rather stay in bed on a Saturday than get up and go and vote in a primary?
Well, quickly, that's a good question. I'm currently working on it right now. If you were to go to the HBCU down there, Allen University, Benedict College, even our university, the University of South Carolina, I know that's not an HBCU, but even them, they would know me by name. We have already started recruiting them, Mr. Chair. But the goal is, y'all, we got to start putting on more events, and we got to be more unified as a collective unit. It was a time growing up in the Low Country where you talked about the politics and the Democratic Party. Man, it was like a holiday. Voting was a holiday in my house. You understand what I'm saying? And we got to get back to our roots. We got to get back to just being silent. And if we believe in the message that we are saying, we can get the young folks out. We just got to meet them where they are. We got to use social media more, like our TikTok pages and our Instagram pages. And we just got to show them that we actually believe in the message that we are doing. I can guarantee you, Mr. Chair, that the young girls of South Carolina, we are ready to go. And we are definitely fired up about this upcoming election. We fired up about this upcoming convention. And we just ask everyone to please, let's get motivated. So Lexington County, we can't win statewide without us. And that's how we would do it.
And I don't know if y'all hear, but we've got the final message. I wish we could take more questions online, but I will tell you, John is one of the initial Clyburn, in the actual first Clyburn Fellowship group, and me being an alum from last year, I count him as a brother now. Hopefully we'll see him more in Lexington County. And I do appreciate everything that you all are doing. Those things that I mentioned earlier tonight, if you don't know about your delegate status, let me know. If you want a Blue Palmetto dinner ticket, let me know. If you want a Boston butt, let me know. And please show up on Thursday night to help us get started with our first annual chili cook-off. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, Gladys, I will be at the HCP family event.